Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for a car events video. Today we are in Kissimmee, Florida for the 2025 Mecum Car Auction. Now I am here with my dad today, and we traveled here for the first time last year where there were about 3,000 cars. However, this year there are 4,500, which is a huge number. Obviously we can't see or record them all, but we'll take a look around and see what the most interesting cars are that we can find. So as I said before, my dad and I were here last year, and what I really like is that this event is held on a fairgrounds, so you get a really good mixture of locations for cars. They have, as you can see behind me, a larger field of vehicles, but they also have a lot of tents on the fairgrounds, some temporary tents, but also some permanent buildings where a lot of the nicer cars are in. So it's really nice to start out here though, I think, because you get a mix of higher end and lower end cars, but that's also where you might be able to find some hidden gems as well. And of course, being a Cadillac fan, I certainly can't pass up seeing a late 60s Eldorado. As you can see, they must have a vacuum leak for the right headlight, but the left one's fine, which is interesting. High bid was $34,000. 1967 Cadillac Eldorado Coupe. This one has a tan interior, 429 cubic inch V8 engine. Odometer reads about 60,000 miles. Now I can't pass up taking a look at two Rolls Royces by each other. Now this one appears to be a Phantom, the other one a Ghost. I think I like the looks of this Phantom the most with the two-tone, the blue and the silver. This will be one of the first model years of the Phantom when it came out in the early 2000s, 2004. 50,000 miles, and of course, some of the nicest amenities you could get for back in the day, I'm sure. Little screen in the center. This one here is a little bit newer. Looks like the Spirit of Ecstasy is down in the car for protection, although the little door didn't go over there to cover her up. This, of course, also has a V12 engine, about 46,000 miles. Now, don't tell anyone. Let's see if, oh, nope, it's locked. Oh, no, it's not. I like the looks of the Phantom more and the color combo. This is a lot more modern, but the Phantom just has a look that's unmatched. So if I was to choose between the two, that's what I would take. Now, for all of you who watched my videos last year of the Mecum auctions, you may remember there were two parts to that video because there were so many cars here to see. So I may end up making two parts again, or maybe putting everything together in one. So don't be too surprised if I'm suddenly wearing different clothing or something and the weather's different, because I am filming across multiple days while I'm here in Kissimmee. Now here's an interesting comparison between an SL and a Cadillac Elante. Now the SL is much older than the Elante, but the Elante was made to go against the SL, and as a matter of fact, there's, I believe, a late 80s or early 90s SL over there, so that's probably a better comparison for the Cadillac. But it's interesting to see these two cars together, and obviously the SL succeeded in that fight. The Elante was front-wheel drive, probably underpowered when it first came out, since the North Star wasn't in it until the last model year. And I think, even compared to the newer SLs from the 90s, I think this just looks so much better than the Cadillac Elante. But the Elante is still a good-looking car, designed by Pininfarina, but still not quite the same as what Mercedes was doing at the time. Now this Chevy pickup truck is in really good shape. It's probably from the early to mid-90s. These are coming up in value, actually, the Chevy trucks, the GMCs, as well as the Suburbans and Tahoes and whatnot. People are nostalgic for these vehicles. Most of them were used as trucks and didn't survive, but this one is in brilliant shape. And we'll take a quick look at the interior, a little better look. See what a truck was like back then. And this looks like you could use it as a notepad. Flip that up, right on it. Very practical. I love the smell in here. It smells like 90s GM. My dad had a mid-90s Caprice back in the day, and this has a very similar smell as that. 88 looks like, according to the windshield. Any details about this car, Dad, you'd like to share with everyone?
This was kind of the car for people who wanted big cars, and it was kind of a workhorse.
I like it how it has the combination there on there, so you can unlock
Yes.
the doors, probably open the trunk, stuff like that.
You can do a combination, unlock the driver's door. If you hit the 4, it unlocked all 4 doors, and 5, think of the 5th door, the trunk would pop open. And if you hold down the last 2, it would lock all the doors and lock the trunk.
Now this is kind of an interesting looking Chevrolet. I just kind of noticed the rear window design. Reminds me of the 61 Cadillac I reviewed a few years ago. It's also a 61. Now I don't know if I've actually seen this model before of Chevrolet. A little over 50,000 miles. It's an interesting looking car. And right by the Chevrolet is a Cadillac Eldorado. Looks to be a 76, black wheel caps, wheel covers on the car. This is the final model year. So of course Cadillac at this time was saying that, oh, we're never going to build a convertible again. So many people bought these things up and just stored them. So this is supposedly a very low mileage car. Let's take a look at the sign once again. 2,200 miles, that is nothing. But then again, Cadillac eventually did offer convertibles again. So a lot of people got upset and I believe even sued Cadillac and General Motors for that. But that's why we have so many of these last model year Eldorados with such low mileage. Here's the original window sticker. You guys can take a look at that if you're interested. But here is a funny paper, which I think is an absolute lie. 12 miles per gallon for city driving and 16 miles per gallon for highway driving. No way. We have a 76 Eldorado convertible. We would get maybe 10 on a good day. No way you can get 16 miles per gallon on the highway unless if you're going downhill in neutral with the car off. I mean, that is so funny. So my dad and I are here with one of our friends, Dave. And he's a Thunderbird guy. I'm sure he'd be able to give a little bit of a talk on these. He owned a 57 at one point, an automatic. This is also a 57, fuel injection. And you were saying this is worth some money, huh?
This is probably a $200,000 to $250,000 car.
Oh my goodness.
It's got a 3-speed in it, no wire wheels, and it doesn't say if it has a hard top, but I'm assuming it does. It's a beautiful car.
And what makes it a $200,000 car? The condition, the year?
It's called an E-Bird, is the fuel injection that is on it.
Wow.
It's a rare car.
Very nice. No, it's a very
there's a hard
sleek
top
car.
right there, white top.
Wow. And that was standard with these cars too, right?
Yes, and it'll also have a soft top.
And a soft top. Wow. Very nice. Well, this is yours. You need another one.
Definitely.
So we've made our way inside of one of the first buildings here on the fairgrounds. And they have some nice stuff in here, so there's definitely going to be a lot to record. Let's take a look. Now this is a rare bird here. This is a G-Class Cabriolet. And Doug DeMuro, another car reviewer, he made these kind of famous lately because he bought one. This one's a 2001. But obviously the unique part is that the roof comes down. It's probably an impractical thing, not necessarily something that everyone would want, but it's a rare thing. And you really just don't see it too often. But look at how goofy it looks with the windows on the sides and no roof. There's a gorgeous red Bentley here by this Escalade. See how they always put a Cadillac by the Bentleys and Rolls Royces to make them look nicer. Just kidding. But look at how beautiful this is. Of course, hand built, tan interior, gorgeous stitching. It's a 2014 Continental. Of course, has the W12, very powerful, smooth engine. Only $70,000 to $90,000. It's amazing how these go down in value over the years. But boy, to me, it still looks like a brand new car. They really have aged well. Now, I love these Mercedes. These are the last Mercedes to have gull wing doors. It's an SLS AMG. They're worth a lot of money. But these are one of the nicest looking Mercedes from the modern era, in my opinion. I mean, it's just so sleek. But with the gull wing doors up, this car looks like nothing else. Now here's another 76 Eldorado. This one seems to be even in better shape than the one we saw earlier. Now I will say, it seems like this Eldorado is not highly optioned. No split seat, no delay wipers, no thermometer. So it's missing some stuff, but obviously in beautiful shape. But my dad owns a 76 Eldorado, which I've reviewed before. And we think that that car should have been this color when it left the factory. It's been repainted for more of like a fire engine red, but yeah, that's a beautiful paint job. 56 Chrysler. I haven't seen many of these before, if any. Now it's a New Yorker, so higher end model, looks like. That's a nice looking interior. Power steering, they were obviously proud of that. That's pretty cool. Beautiful interior. Now here is a 57 Cadillac Eldorado. Now I actually reviewed a Eldorado Seville very recently, so I have been in one of these recently, but this is a very nice spec. Look at how sparkly those seats are. Now that is very interesting. I don't know if I've seen that before. And we'll take a look at the sign here just to get a better idea of what this car has. One of 2100 built that year. And this was a top-end car back then. Correct brown and gold leather and cloth interior. I'm still amazed that they had something that sparkly to offer in their cars back then. How beautiful. And check out this Buick Skylark. Very interesting design on the rear trunk. The metalwork is truly incredible on this car. Very unique, but I've never seen a trunk like that before. And here's the interior. Look at all of those different knobs and switches. I love that. Of course, Buick vertical grille, waterfall grille, whatever you want to call it. This is a 54, and there's the sign. Now here is the Continental. Now this, many people do refer to as Lincoln Continentals, although they were their own brand at this point to make kind of a more special vehicle than even Lincoln's, is what Ford's thought was at the time. These were hand-built, top-notch cars, and Ford, of course, lost money on every single one they built. And that's when Cadillac came out with their Eldorado Bromes to fight these vehicles, and they also lost money on every one they made. I usually see these in black, so it's nice to see one in a different color. Now here is a beautiful Rolls-Royce Corniche convertible, and according to the sign, it could be the very lowest mileage one in existence, 5,300 miles. Who knows if that's true or not, but either way, very low mileage, and it does have that Rolls-Royce look, which everyone would recognize. Now here is a Maybach from the early to mid-2000s. They were very similar looking to the S-classes, and they essentially failed. They were just way too expensive for the time. Most people just would have gotten a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley instead. Of course, the best in terms of technology for 2004, which, you know, by today's standards isn't much, but still it is very nice, obviously. Lots of buttons on the interior, screens, whatnot. Still a unique car and obviously very nice, but I agree that it does look a lot like an S-Class. So I was taking a quick look at this C6 Corvette, and I was actually impressed by the way that this thing looks. I don't think I've ever seen a blue interior like this before on a Corvette. Looks like it's a 60 anniversary edition, 427 collector edition convertible. Now I remember that at this time, soon after the bankruptcy and before the C7 generation came out, that Corvette was making a lot of special editions just to get cars moved. I don't think I've seen a spec like this before, and I really do like it. It's actually a nice looking car. Now right in the center of the room, where it should be, a 1960 Eldorado convertible. And take in that interior. And the trunk is also open on this one, so we'll take a look inside. Unsurprisingly, a ton of room. But I love how the rear end of this car looks this era, still very much inspired by aviation. And I love how this design here really mimics the front grille with those little nubs that stick out. Here's the sticker, 1960 Eldorado Baritz. So we started to take a look at this Edsel, and we noticed there's a push-button transmission on the steering wheel on these cars. I did not know that Fords, and Edsels for that matter, had push-button transmissions at this time, or at any time really. And we were actually informed that by an older gentleman we met at the airport who was a Ford engineer, and he worked for Ford for many years, and he told us that. And we were like, huh, never noticed that, and lo and behold, he was right. Now this Plymouth Superbird here, very nice car, but what's really special is that it was owned by Richard Petty, NASCAR driver. Now Mecum is valuing this car up to $1 million. Now I'm not sure if that's because it was specifically owned by Richard Petty. I'm sure that has something to do with it, but also because these are pretty rare vehicles as well, and very, very distinctive. And right by it, we've got a Lamborghini Miura. We've seen multiple of these before, but one of the best known Lamborghinis ever made. Oh, that's interesting, a blue interior with a lime green exterior. And according to this sign, this Miura was formerly owned by Ferruccio Lamborghini's brother Edmondo. And this is the recognized as the first mid-engine two-seat sports car. Kind of goes to show why this is worth potentially up to $2 million and more. Now we've moved back outside and we found two Eldorados sitting right next to each other, very fitting. This one is a 79 Eldorado Baritz, of course the first year that it was downsized. And this one is a 2002 Collector's Edition, number 21 of 1,596 produced. Kind of a strange number there, I'm not sure why that is. And you can see the leather has kind of a lighter color to it, so that's part of the Collector's Edition. And it has a plaque on the dashboard as well. Looks nice, says Collector's Edition and says number 21 of 1,596. So kind of interesting. I do like the looks of these Eldorados. I think they've aged pretty well, and I did review a 99 a few years ago. And we'll take a quick look at this 79 Baritz. Still has the stainless steel roof that the Eldorados were known for. And Look at that carpeting, so soft. And the rest of the interior is pretty nice. But I do believe that the V8 engines that came in these Eldorados weren't exactly known for their reliability. And personally, I would get a bigger one from 78 or prior. Look at these little things. We think that triangle right there is electric. 72 Honda Z600 Sport has a 2-cylinder engine, 4-speed transmission. Gosh, who knows if this thing can even hit 40. But I think I'd rather have it than this Vanguard. It's from 1976, my gosh. It's more of like a golf cart than anything else. Electric engine, direct gear drive. 2-seater, I just can't imagine being in this thing. It's a city car, that's for sure. Now for all the Mercedes people out there, seeing this car is definitely special. This is a CLK AMG Black Series. Very, very rare, and now becoming extremely collectible. Taking a look at this sign, this is a 2008, one of 40 in Arctic White, and it's worth right around $200,000. Known for being an extremely fast car, and people have fallen in love. Look at that, it looks like it has a roll cage in the back. A sizable wing. Very aggressive looking, but I love these side moldings on this car. Look at how wide those wheels are, especially compared to probably what the standard car would have had. Now check out how big this Rolls Royce is. About 6,200 miles on the odometer. Looks beautiful in there. I'm assuming it's been restored at some point, but who knows, with that low of mileage, maybe not. Now I know we're like not supposed to touch the cars, but this door is the best feeling door I have ever felt. Oh my gosh, that is a door. Now sometimes when we come to these auctions, we see some weird stuff, and this definitely takes the cake and fits in that description. It is a 2021 Jeep Gladiator Apocalypse Hellfire 6x6 pickup truck. And obviously you can see 3 wheels on this side, 3 wheels on the other. And this started out as a Jeep Gladiator. Obviously, just about everything has been replaced. This is a very rough surface, but an actually pretty nice interior, very soft leather. And the panels have been switched out in the ceiling, some extra speakers up there. I don't know if that's stock with the Gladiator or not. I'm guessing not. But obviously this thing is made for the end of the world, but it almost doesn't look completely practical. I wonder where you'd get this thing serviced when the world ends. Let's take a look at this 1941 Cadillac convertible. This is a Series 62 convertible. One of 400 final year convertible sedans produced. 50,000 miles roughly. And my dad was actually saying that this piece here comes off when you lower the top. There's actually a handle, you can kind of see it over there on the other side of the car. So I came across another Eldorado. This one is a 1998. However, what's interesting about this one is that it has whatever that thing is in the corner of the car, maybe to make it easier to see where your car is in parking, but it has a turn signal on the front fender. Now I'm kind of wondering if this is something that would have been used for vehicles in Europe. So maybe this car came from overseas or maybe Canada, I don't know. And speaking of this car potentially being from Europe, there is a 97 DeVille over there, and that also has that same orange side marker light or turn signal light on the side. I'm kind of into this DeVille here just because I own a 1999 Fleetwood Limited, which is essentially a stretched version of this car. This is a 97 and it's the top of the line Concours edition. So it'll come with all the fancy stuff that you'd want. But if you guys know what those side marker lights are on the car, please feel free to let us know in the comments. And this is a big Buick. Just look at this convertible. Huge grille up front, quad headlights. Now this is a 1958 Buick Special 46C convertible. It says power steering on top of the steering wheel there. That's kind of a cool thing. Something to show off back then. It's a very nice looking car though. I mean, it does look very Cadillac-like as far as how much chrome is on it. But Buick was just below Cadillac, so it was a luxury vehicle. Now here are a couple cars worth mentioning. First off, we have a 1976 Cadillac Coupe DeVille with just under 7,000 miles on it. And keep in mind, these cars have been sitting outside for a little while, so they do get dirty. But 76, just under 7,000 miles. Such nice shape. However, there aren't a whole lot of options here. Bench seat, no delay wipers. However, I will say, I think I actually like this Lincoln Continental more. I actually got to review a Lincoln Continental maybe 2 years ago or so now, a 1975, and I loved it. This particular one is a 1973, also low mileage, about 11,000 miles in total. And one of my favorite things about these cars was actually something pretty simple. It had to do with the speedometer. It's almost like a thermometer slowly rising in temperature from left to right. It looks very futuristic rather than having just something like a needle. But anyways, I also liked how there are cruise control buttons on the steering wheel. That is very handy and honestly kind of futuristic for the time, because Cadillacs did not have that in the 70s. Now, it didn't take us long to find another Cadillac. This one is a 1978 Eldorado Baritz. This one is a little bit unique. Now, according to this sign, this is the only known 1978 Eldorado Baritz painted in Greenbrier Fire Mist. Now, this customer who ordered this car knew special ordered this color, because apparently this was a special color you could get in 1976. However, in 1978, Cadillac was not offering it, so he special ordered it to be in this color again. And apparently that is noted on the window sticker of this car as well. You may not be able to see it very well, but here's the original window sticker to the vehicle. And apparently somewhere on there it mentions that color, but Greenbrier Fire Mist, what a beautiful looking color and paint on this beautiful looking car. Dad, do you want to talk about this Lincoln Mark III a little bit?
So this is something that when Lee Iacocca came to Lincoln and they wanted to really spruce things up to compete with Cadillac, they came out with this, and he wanted the Rolls-Royce-like grille in the front, make it really look fancy. He even admitted it was kind of a Rolls-Royce thing. When they first came out with this, I believe it was 1969. The quality was very good. It had a very fast engine, and it was very successful. But they sold more of these for the first time than Eldorados, from my recollection. I was told that the Mark III, when you compare it to the Mark IV, Mark V, and all the rest of them, that the Mark III was really a high-quality, well-built vehicle.
This is a Packard 1932 905 twin-six convertible Victoria. And Packard, they were at their best at this time period. They have a bunch of race cars in here too, including this Porsche 917K. Look at this Eldorado. This is a 1960 Eldorado Baritz. According to the sign, of course the owner's going to say this, but it's the finest restored example of one of Cadillac's most iconic automobiles. No expense spared. Certainly is the right color. Nothing like a black Cadillac. Let's take a look at the sign here. Oh, could be worth up to $400,000. 2-barrel carburetor, 4-speed hydromatic transmission, a black interior. That could be a problem with a convertible, but hey, at least it'll look really, really nice. And the paint is perfect. I mean, just look along the side of it. You don't see any blemishes, nothing, no waves. It's like a mirror. It truly is like a mirror. You just fall right into it. Now, this 1961 Lincoln Continental is also going through the auction block and was also restored, looks like by the same people who restored that Cadillac. And this appears to have been done just as well. Also black on black, just like the Cadillac was. Wow. And what I do love about these Continentals are the suicide doors. That is such a cool look, especially with the door open. And I really do like the looks of these Lincolns. I mean, it's just so clean, and it's not overstyled. It really looks special, and they didn't make nearly as many of these Lincolns as they did Cadillacs, estimating $300,000 to $350,000. Once again, frame-off restoration. Now this is really cool. This was Bill Clinton's limousine back when he was president. This is the actual limousine that was used at the time to move him around. They probably had multiple, the Secret Service, to move him, but this is the only one that is actually owned by a private individual, because most of the time these end up being destroyed by the Secret Service after they're being used. It's bulletproofed. You can see how thick that glass is. Not much is getting through there. This is probably built on some sort of a truck chassis, I'm sure. There's one of the signs, one of 3 armored presidential limousines, so it's the only one that's probably still in existence these days, which is pretty amazing. The engine was hand-built by Jack Roush. And check out that interior. That looks like 1990s right there. with the TV and VCR. Looks like we have some vanity mirrors up there, some buttons, climate control. But it's very likely that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton rode back there together. And a very nice looking design, to tell you guys the truth. I mean, some limousines just don't look right. They might look too tall, maybe not so beautiful anymore, but this one still looks pretty, even with all the bulletproofing. And the back end looks pretty much standard Fleetwood, but unfortunately that Cadillac logo is broken there. But I love these Fleetwoods, and it's so cool to see one of the most unique ones in existence. Now this Cadillac is pretty cool. Now this is a 27 Cadillac Model 314B Touring, and it is right-hand drive. That is cool. So according to this sign, this is one of 14 right-hand drives built in 1927. There were 3 that were delivered to Buenos Aires, Argentina, and 11 to London, England. About 74,000 miles on it. And there is the right-hand drive. Look at that. That is something that I have never seen on a Cadillac before from this era. It seems like only now Cadillac is starting to go back to right-hand drive for the Lyric, producing some cars overseas. So it's pretty neat to see that they were doing similar things even back then. I'm sure someone would have to pay a pretty penny though to get a right-hand drive Cadillac. We're really coming across some cool Cadillacs here. So this is a 38 Cadillac Series V16 Imperial limousine. A V16 engine, how cool. So this sign says 1 of 95 produced. It has a 452, 185 horsepower V16 engine. Sold new at Don Lee Cadillac in Pasadena, California, to a Pasadena doctor. Wow, 3-speed transmission, but oh my goodness. This was the height of luxury back then. I mean, imagine how much money you had to be able to afford one of these cars and to get a limousine at that. Tons of space. Look at how comfortable that seat looks. Huge armrest, cigarette lighter. This is truly a Cadillac. Just look at that. And we may as well take a look at this pink 59 Cadillac. Oh my goodness. This is definitely a car from the 50s. Oh man, that is kind of strange to see red carpeting with a pink interior. I'm wondering if this pink is custom. Unsurprisingly, there are just cars everywhere. So many tents, so many outdoor buildings. It looks like Dodge is back with their Challengers and Chargers going around in circles. Looks like we found a 2008 Cadillac XLR-V. So 2008 was the second to last model year, with about 30,000 miles on it. And this is actually a heated steering wheel, which only the 2008 and 2009 Vs had, which is nice. But of course it has that Alcantara suede material on the seats to help keep you in place when going around corners. Also has that material on the doors as well. 6-speed automatic transmission. And of course the supercharged 4.4 liter Northstar engine. Now I do love these cars. I have a 2006 myself and enjoy it a lot. Definitely a comfortable riding car as well as fast. So it does kind of the best of both worlds. And it's of course a hardtop convertible. So being an owner, I just can't help but look at these. I really find them to be special cars. And only 2,200 of the V series made for the XLR. So definitely a special car in my mind. And we found a Bicentennial Eldorado, of course made in 1976. And one of the giveaways, the blue and red pinstriping on the body. There's going to be a plaque on the inside of it. Special piping on the seats. This has about 2,000 miles on it. And of course, 1 of 200 made for the country's 200th birthday. You can see the plaque over there, which talks about the special edition. Now, the funny thing is my dad and I have actually seen multiple Bicentennials at other auctions and car shows. So it's kind of funny that we've come across many of them in the past, but it's always good to stop and take a look just because they are rare. Now here is an Eldorado Brougham. And most of you probably already know all the details about this car. Kind of an explanation, it was Cadillac's top-end model from the 50s, hand-built, extremely expensive, even more expensive than that of a Rolls-Royce at the time. I believe like around $13,000 or so. And it was to fight against the Continental, 1 of 304 produced in this year. And these are all hand-built, as mentioned before. They had air suspension, memory seats. They were just extremely advanced. And in the back, I believe there was a little compartment for all the makeup. There were shot glasses meant for the passenger in the front of the car. And also, I believe that the trunk would also rise and lower all on its own power. But I've never seen one in this particular color combination. Very, very nice. I was walking past this Impala and I just thought it looked so nice I should take a closer look. Looks like this is a 1958, the first year for the Chevrolet Impala. 348 cubic inch V8 engine, power steering, power windows. So it seems to have some nice features for a Chevy, but the Impala was the kind of nicest vehicle Chevy offered at the time. The biggest one as well, I would think. But it looks very nice, very fancy. Here's a 75 Chevrolet Caprice convertible. This one only has 15,000 miles on it, which is really impressive. You gotta wonder why someone would buy a Chevy Caprice and not drive it, or at least very little, after about 50 years or so. Who knows? Every car's got its own story, but it does look like a 15,000 mile car. And this is a really unique looking Jeep. I don't think I've ever seen a Jeep truck like this, but it's a cab over. The engine is underneath the front seats. Looks like this is an FC150 pickup. Forward control 150 model, four-wheel drive, 134 cubic inch inline four-cylinder engine. Obviously going to be bare bones, but decent amount of room up here. But it just doesn't look like a Jeep to me. I've never seen anything like it before. We've got multiple Cadillacs here, a few Sevilles, including this black and silver one. Anything you want to say about this one here, Dad?
This is the 1978 Elegante, which was the top of the line. They've grown on me. When they were new, I really wasn't into them, but as time has gone by, I like them a lot more. I like the fact that it had a 350 engine in them, and this is well decked out. So 79 is the last year of this body style, so it would have had the digital climate control and radio, which would have been new for that year, and very, very nice. And also the seats on this one are the perforated leather. So
that's nice.
So yeah. It's a very, very nice interior.
Now this is kind of unique. It is a 2008 Impala, but it's a 50th anniversary edition, and it only has 9 miles on it. It has the plastic on the seats still, plastic everywhere else to protect it. As if it's a brand new car, someone just left all that plastic on there, and they just decided to say, hey, let's not drive it, let's keep it, hopefully have it as an investment and sell it down the line 15 years later. But again, I'm just surprised that someone chose this particular vehicle to hold on to. I really love the looks of this era of Seville. The early 90s to mid 90s I think looks actually better than some of the late 90s, early 2000s Sevilles and STSs. And this one has less than 1,000 miles on it. 931 miles. Well, that's kind of cool. There's a bunch of controls right in the center console, it looks like. It looks like lumbar controls. That is interesting. I don't think I've actually seen that before on other Sevilles. All right, everybody, we came across our first Imperial at the auction. And this is a 1966 Imperial Crown Hardtop Coupe. And this particular one is in a pretty nice color. It's a plum purple. It almost looks kind of gray on camera, but it does have a purple hue to it, which is pretty. And I recently reviewed a 1959 Imperial Crown, and I was really impressed by it, actually. It really was a nice vehicle, very well put together, very luxurious as well, inside and out. And this one seems to be very nice as well. Now, although I will say that although this car is nice, I am still a Cadillac guy through and through. This is a really beautiful luxury car, but I think I like the looks of Cadillacs more. Here's a 1976 Cadillac Fleetwood. Last year of the big Fleetwoods. Dad, do you have anything interesting you'd like to say about this car?
Always enjoyed this. As you mentioned, it was the last of the big Cadillac. When they downsized in 1977, the 77 models were generally 1,000 pounds less weight. So they took 1,000 pounds off. Obviously a shorter car. They claimed more interior room, but this is as big as they get. If you get a Series 75 in this year, as you know, largest production car ever made.
And this particular car looks like it has kind of a greenish interior, which is a little bit unusual, it looks like.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if it faded that way. Maybe it's supposed to be goldish, because like the outside of the car, good question. It's well optioned. It does have almost every option, from the delay wipers, cruise tilt, the Twilight Sentinel, 8-track tape player. So, except, this one's not 8-track. Anyway, well optioned car.
Very roomy. Even though it's a smaller, not as big as a Series 75, it's still very roomy.
It is very roomy, and they supposedly had some footrests in early 1977 Fleetwoods, but I've never seen footrests in anything after 1976 in a Fleetwood.
Now this is something very unique. This is a 2004 Avanti 2. Several years ago, I actually reviewed an Avanti. It was a 1978 Avanti 2, and this is obviously a very modern version of that car. Now, Avanti was a brand that was actually kind of started by Studebaker back in the mid-60s. It was bought and sold multiple times, and eventually just kind of disappeared. At least that's what I thought until I saw this car. Now, according to the sign, this particular model only has 138 miles. And this says the Avanti brand has passed through several owners and produced cars on and off after Studebaker closed in late 1963. After being purchased in 1999, they began producing automobiles again from 2000 to 2006 and built on a 2004 Mustang chassis. Now, this has a 4.6 liter V8 engine, I would assume from a Mustang, and that is actually a really good idea. You get a modern powertrain, modern chassis, and a really nice looking interior, which is frankly nicer looking than any Mustang from the era that I've seen, and it's a convertible on top of that. So it actually seems like a good idea to create a more modernized version of the Avanti, but who knows, maybe at that point people didn't know much about the brand anymore, they didn't care as much, and I assume they must have gone under again, which is unfortunate, but I had no idea that such a thing existed. Now this Corvette, the C3, has a very strange looking rear design with that window. 3 windows in the back. I wonder if it has extra space in the back for storage. Let's see what the deal is with this. Maybe it's just custom. Yeah, it's a 1970 Chevy Corvette GT Shark Custom Coupe. Purportedly one of 5 produced and the only example known to exist today. Yeah, obviously it's been customized pretty heavily in the back. There's the interior. Looks like they got rid of the pop-up headlights in the front, which is interesting. 1981, okay.
Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham with the V864, which they had on their entire lineup to try to improve fuel economy. And unfortunately, you would feel it switching from the different cylinders. There's a little bit of you could actually feel it in the car. And unfortunately, a lot of people didn't like it. There were problems with it. One of those experiments that didn't work, which kind of like the diesel engine we talked about that came out around this time, that unfortunately General Motors screwed up.
Well, let's see what the interior looks like.
Nice, well loaded.
Yeah. It's kind of a brownish tan exterior and interior. But it looks nice. No, it's maybe not the color I would choose, but looks to be in good shape. It's a beautiful 1959 Cadillac Fleetwood. Just look at all those lights on the front. The quad headlights, probably fog lights and turn signals. Cadillac Series 60 Special Fleetwood sedan. I'm sure power windows, power vent windows, all the stuff you'd expect to have for a Cadillac Fleetwood at the time. Man, imagine this thing going down the road back in the day. We found a 1969 Lincoln Continental. Has the suicide doors. And Dad, if I remember correctly, they already lengthened the car at this point, right, for the back seat? Okay. Look at all of those 8-track tapes in there. So I assume this has an 8-track player somewhere. About 23,000 miles on it. V8 engine with a rebuilt carburetor, automatic transmission, original black vinyl roof, and factory air conditioning. That's nice. And I like how high the backrest is with the headrest. Looks really comfortable. Taking a look at this Auburn, I'm really blown away just how much people will pay for these things. The high bid was $685,000. And as many of you know, I go to Auburn, Indiana every year for their parade, and we see maybe 100 of these things driving down the road. And we're gonna finish it off by taking a look at some of the Cadillacs here. First is a 1992 Cadillac Brougham. This would have been the last year of the Broughams before they transitioned back to the Fleetwoods from 93 to 96. And here's a 76 Coupe de Ville. This also had pretty low mileage. I'll take a look at the sign real quick to get the exact number. It's about 13,000 miles. Pretty impressive. And we'll check out the interior. It's red to match the exterior with the cloth. The Landau top is in good shape. One of my favorite cars here actually is a 1960 Eldorado Baritz, but one of about 1,300 produced for 1960. Once again, absolutely stunning. But if I was to choose between the two, I would probably choose this 1959 Eldorado Baritz. I think I'd prefer the white interior on a convertible, but it just stands out so much more. And being a 59, it's just so much more collectible as well with the fins in the back. But they do look great together. And the camera just can't quite capture how beautiful and large these cars are. And this Eldorado has a very beautiful deep red color. It's a 1956 Baritz, and this one has about 42,000 miles on it. I love this textured chrome along the side. And it's kind of interesting that they have this kind of rubberized floor, it looks like. Not sure if they would have had floor mats back then or not, but it's kind of a nice design. And the parade boot clips into the back of the seats, which is also interesting. And here's another one, a little bit older. So it looks like this one is a 53. That one's a 56. I think I like the looks of the 56 better. What would you do, Dad, if you picked between the two?
I like the front end of the 56, but I really like the taillights on the 52.
And then this is a Series 75 here, correct?
And a Series 75 convertible next to it.
Really, a Series 75 convertible?
That's what it says, yes, Series 75 convertible.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is. So we're at least seeing some other Series 75s, so I'm feeling better.
Yes. Yeah, we don't really see a whole lot of them, at least not from the 60s and 70s. 1940 Fleetwood 7-passenger Imperial sedan. Downdraft carburetor, 3-speed manual, transmission, 27,000 miles. Oh, this is in really nice shape. I love the wood. Although I will say, it does have the divider window in the back, so it probably wouldn't be as comfortable for the driver. A very comfortable looking back seat. I don't see any footrests or a bar to rest your feet on, which I'm a little bit surprised about. Well, this definitely does look like a Series 75, and it is a convertible. Wow. Divider window in the back still. It's kind of strange. I don't know why you'd want that, maybe to block the wind at this point with a convertible. This is in fantastic shape. Although I will say not as much rear leg room as in the other Series 75 we just saw. You still have the goddess hood ornament up front. 1937 Cadillac Series 75 convertible sedan, one of fewer than 10 known to exist, purportedly exhibited at the 1936 New York Auto Show. Sympathetic restoration in original colors, body by Fleetwood. Okay, 346 cubic inch L-head V8 engine. Man, imagine this car being at the New York Auto Show and seeing it new at the time. I don't think I've ever seen a Series 75 convertible before. It's actually a good idea because you still get all the comfort of the Fleetwood, but the joy of being in a convertible. All right, everybody, we walked through and saw all the cars at the 2025 Mecum Kissimmee auction. I had a blast here. There was a lot to see, and I was really blown away by all of the cars. I especially liked seeing all the different Cadillacs and Corvettes, but the weather was also very nice in Florida this time of year, so that was enjoyable too. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and to come back again soon for more videos. Thank you.